Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. So here's where we stand. The New York Yankees have qualified for the playoffs in this crazy 2020 season. They will go to Cleveland to face the Indians or the Cleveland baseball team, which they make a change. We don't know. Best of 3 games. Of course, all 3 games will be played at Cleveland. Now, this is the postseason, so I know the regular season had some different rules. Well, in the playoffs, not all those rules are going to be there, so you're not going to see in the 10th inning or extra innings a runner, started off at second base with no outs. They're going to go back to the old school rules, which I'm happy with, as well as there will be no 7th inning doubleheaded games, which they wouldn't have that anyways. But yes, there'll be no more 7th inning only games. But the new rule of the 3 batter minimum, that will still be there because that was originally planned even before COVID hit. And of course, now there will be a DH in both leagues, even once you get to the World Series. I mean, pitchers haven't hit the whole season. There's no way they're going to start now. Going into this postseason, the Yankees haven't looked great. I mean, they had a nice little 10-game win streak, a little run there, and like DJ LeMahieu was back and Judge was back. Not that he was hitting great, but it was back and things were positive. And then, the Yankees kind of ended the season on a whimper. Lost 2 or 3 to the Blue Jays, lost 2 or 3 to the Marlins. Didn't look great. So it could have been just some of the blues that, once they qualified, they kind of eased into the season. Maybe they rested some guys. I don't know. But you want to run into the playoffs playing hot, especially such a quick turnaround. The Yankees didn't really end the season hot, so wouldn't be surprised if it's a quick exit. But again, it could be in a situation that once they qualified, they're just kind of staying within themselves. No one's kind of exerting everything, and then hopefully that game 1, everyone could turn on, flip the switch and turn it on. So the Yankees starting rotation for this series, and you're paying Cole like $300 million, you might as well have him start game 1. But also he's been terrific lately, especially since they made Higgy his valet catcher, even though they don't want to admit it. But Cole was struggling there for a little bit, mainly with Sanchez once they threw him onto Higgy. Cole's been fabulous, and that's what you want going into the playoffs. Unfortunately, the rest of the team hasn't been that much, but Cole has been fabulous his last few starts, and he'll get the ball in game 1. Have announced, but you'd be crazy not to let Higgy be the catcher for that. Sanchez this season really took a step back in a lot of ways. I mean, defensively, he's been okay overall, but in terms of calling the games with Cole, it just seems like they've been off sync. Cole's shaking him off a lot. You see him laboring on the mound. It just seems they're not on the same page. So even though, Sanchez might have the more potentially lethal bat, but even that's not much because, Sanchez really hasn't been that great. He's been kind of a feast of famine. Like, either hits a home run, he does nothing. So, it's not like, I can see if he was batting like over 300 and it's like, how can you take Sanchez bat out of the bat? He really hasn't been that great. So if you're going to get the best out of Cole, then, have Higgy catching, not Sanchez. And, in fact, even if you look, you want to make Sanchez maybe a DH. If you want to look at the numbers, depending on again, it's fine. But I would not want Sanchez behind the plate when Cole's throwing. 2 other Yankee players that at least, picked it up a little bit as they're closing out the season and had a tremendous season overall. Of course, DJ LeMahieu winning the batting title, as well as Luke Voit unexpectedly winning the home run title. And they're the first teammates to do that since 1959 when Hank Aaron and Eddie Matthews did that for the Milwaukee Braves. And both LeMahieu and Voit are MVP candidates. I think it should go to Voit because Voit has been there the whole season. He's been very steady, kind of unexpected season. And LeMahieu did miss a little time. Again, he's still the machine and all that. But and if I had to choose, I would give it to Voit. Again, Voit was that one rock there the entire season for the New York Yankees. So, of course, Aaron Judge will be back. Didn't really have a great season. Again, was hurt a lot. Again, were they really serious injuries that, if this was a normal season, he would have played through? Possibly, but they really babied him. I mean, calf and stuff like that. I mean, look, guys hurt, he can't play, but kind of a disappointing season from Judge. But, he has an opportunity now. He's going to be in the playoffs, and he can make up for all that with like a game-winning home run or just having a good couple series overall. Stan, same thing, missed pretty much all the season. Again, hits a home run opening day. He's like, great, this is a new Stanton, this is going to be different. And then he was hurt for most of the season. But again, there's going to be an opportunity there where, some runners on and he could hit a big home run or do something great. And again, everything in the regular season will be forgotten. But the opportunities there in front of them, let's see if these 2 big guys can deliver. And we look for Gleyber Torres. Him, I would say a little disappointment. Of course, the Yankees, moved him from second to shortstop. Early on, had some, miscues defensively, cleaned it up a little bit with the bat. Okay, but wasn't great. So in a way, kind of felt like he did take a step back this season a little bit. But same as I said with Judge and Stanton, there'll be an opportunity for him to get some big hits and get some redemption. He did go with the putting on the glasses, maybe to get some better eyesight, see the ball better. Again, it doesn't seem like it's the same Torres as last season, but still pretty good, pretty decently. You just got to hope defense, defense. We've seen, again, a lot of miscues from Torres, and in the playoffs, that will destroy you. So more than his hitting, just got to make sure that no errors in the playoffs, because those always come back to bite you. Left field, it's got to be Clint Frazier to start. I mean, this is his time. It's Yankees been past couple of years having him come up, come down, come up to come down, and it seems like Gardner's out there left field. Gardner, not too great. It's really hard to judge all these players because it's 60-game season. It's you could the next 120 100 so games could be great for them, and then you wouldn't even think about it. So, but Clint Frazier has earned the left field job, and I think he should start in the playoffs. If you want to have Gardner come in, 7th, 8th inning for defensive purposes, I'm fine with that. But Clint should get the start. He earned the job. All he does is hit. That's all he does is hit. And his defense has been much better this season. Again, not as good as Gardner, but it's not. I don't think it would hurt the Yankees. So he deserves a start. And then moving forward, do you bring Gardner back again? That's going to be. We'll see what happens this offseason. I think the Yankees like him, but you have to have Clint now as your starting left fielder moving forward from this point on. He's earned it. And again, he's the reason why the Yankees blew up the team back in 2016, trading Andrew Miller to Cleveland to get Clint Frazier. So to almost justify that. And again, Clint has earned it. I think Clint should be the number one guy. And I just don't know, where Gardner's head is at. Would he want to come back and be like a part-time Mike Troutman type of role player? Maybe he'll be comfortable with that. Maybe he won't. We'll see. And again, you always depend on Hicks, hurting his quad or hamstring, where you would need Gardner for center field then in that case. So we'll see what happens. And so with the bat, I don't know if there'll be a great moment for Gardner, because again, I think this use him for defensive purposes or for running on the bases. But let's see, maybe a moment comes for Gardner to sort of go out with a bang. The Yankee bullpen should be pretty set. And again, the good thing about this shortened season is that you're not going to have players that are normally taxed by October. You usually have a long season, and once you get into the playoffs, you have bullpen guys that are just overloaded and taxed and just not as sharp. And that was the case last season, especially with Adam Ottavino. Really couldn't get anyone out. This season now, of course, they didn't throw as many innings, so they should be much fresher. So if you have to go to them early, it shouldn't be a big deal. They should be sharper. And Chapman, he was gone for a while with the COVID. When he came back, he wasn't sharp at all, especially with that Mets series. Both Mets series, actually. But then eventually he got better location with the fastball, getting the ball up there to 100 a little bit. So he was looking much better as the season going on, and I just think he'll be in a good place in the playoffs. Again, when he first came back, he looked flat, looked like he really couldn't locate the fastball at all, but he has shown improvement. So at least bullpen-wise, you also have Britton there. Again, he was out a little bit, but he's back. He looked pretty decent and sharp. Green, Ottavino. So bullpen-wise, the Yankees should be set. And if, you may have, depending on when they release the roster, you could also have someone like a Davy Garcia just come in as well. If this may just blow away one batter real quickly. So 9th inning here, how I think the Yankees are going to do. First I'll just reflect on the season. It was good that baseball was able to put it forward, and the Yankees and everyone cooperated and at least gave us a season. So if it's a quick exit, I would not feel disappointed in this team. Again, this whole thing was insane of just the COVID and these new rules and how they're going to do this. And you really can't blame the manager, owner, or anything if the Yankees just get bounced out of the first round. Because, again, this whole thing has been crazy. And the players have, they've done their best. They've gone through it. And look, they're in the playoffs, so they got a shot. Again, I wouldn't be as bummed out as I was like last year. If you have a full season, you should have a different mentality of just everything's gravy. So really, in a way, it should be not too much pressure on the players. I know the Yankees are the away team, but again, there's going to be no fans in the stands. Of course, you always want that last at bat. You like the comfort of your own home and own locker room. But, either way, I think it's an even playing field for both teams. Overall, I think the Yankees will, I'm just going to be optimistic. I think the Yankees can get past the first round. I like Cole for game one. And again, it's a 3-game series. So if you just get game one, the pressure's on the other team for do or die. And then I think the Yankees can piece enough together. So I think at least they'll get past the first round. And, it's just kind of interesting because with the leagues, the Yankees really haven't faced Cleveland this season. They played only East teams in the American League and National League. So it's the first time they're going to see them. So, there's advantages and disadvantages of that. But I just like the Yankees having their full lineup in. Hopefully just, Judge wakes up a little bit. And, I just think the Yankees overall have the better team than Cleveland. But of course, as I say, that's why they play the game. So let's see what happens on the field.